Kathryn, welcome to Toronto. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
By the way, happy belated. I'm sure you're getting that a lot today.
Every day feels like my birthday right now.
It's nice that these things are kind of aligned at the moment, right?
It is. I'll never forget it. And I love talking about this movie, and I've definitely wished for it to be in a Marvel movie on many birthdays. So It's a dream come true.
Well, it's been some time since we've seen Cassie. I wanted to know, in your words, who's Cassie Lang right now in Quantumania?
Well, in this movie, we get to see a new version of Cassie. We're continuing the legacy of this character that the fans have already grown to love so much. And I think in this movie, in the little bits you get to see her, you see her heart. You know, she's a young girl who has developed her own opinions and ideas. She's been away from her dad, had to make a choice, am I gonna, be a victim or am I gonna try to be a hero? And I think she's a hero for herself. She leads with her heart. It gets her into a lot of trouble. She's extremely impatient, just like me, and makes a lot of mistakes. And it kind of makes her a dork. And I think we're really similar. Like, it's my first Marvel movie. It's really her first big role in a Marvel movie. And, we're both trying to figure it out. And you can see me trying to figure out how to be in a Marvel movie in this movie. I'm just trying to make everybody proud. And the fans proud, Paul proud, Peyton. And, they trusted me. They believed in me. And because of that, I was able to just let go and be free. And I think Cassie needs that too. And you see her develop that kind of, she doesn't know what she's doing. She just wants to make her dad proud.
Yeah, she's figuring it out. I love that. It's clear in the movie that her dad is her hero and is an inspiration as well as hope. And she's surrounded by these, these heroes, if you will. I wanted to know for you, Kathryn, who's a hero for you? Who's someone that inspires you?
Oh, well, that's really a tough question. Who's a hero for me? I like people who go against the grain and just say no and do what they need to do. So I'm a hero for myself because my whole life, you have different opportunities. Like, are you going to go with the flow and be like everybody else and do what everyone else is doing? Or are you going to be weird and just be okay, like not having that many friends maybe, or not getting invited out to that party or something, or just being behind. I've always been really behind. And I really feel like I'm my hero right now because I always wanted this. I always wanted to be in a Marvel movie. And I said no to a lot of stuff. And I don't know, it just kind of fell from the sky. Yeah. So, me right now.
That's great. That's great. I love that. All right, so a last question. I thought we could have a little fun here. I know you're super into golf. You've been in since you were young. Let's say you're on the golf course and you're going up against Kang and some variants. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Who
I do not want to play Kang.
I know.
I don't want to play Jonathan Majors, okay?
I would love to know what other three heroes would be on your team to go up against Kang on the golf course.
Groot, Hulk, and maybe, Kate Bishop, I think.
Yes, I was thinking Kate Bishop. Accuracy, totally love that. I also thought of a Hulk. I thought She-Hulk. I thought she'd be
She-Hulk,
intimidating.
Hulk, whatever.
Any
whoever hits the ball farther.
Awesome.
They probably hit them both farther than me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. You were outstanding in this movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you.
Thank you.
In the MCU.
I'm really glad that you like Cassie.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Peyton. Thank you so much for joining me on the Geekcentric Podcast. My name is Nate. How are you doing today, and how was the premiere?
I'm good, Nate. The premiere was insane, as you would expect. It was really, really fun. Those things are always fun to see, not only the fans, but all the people that you made the movie with in the first place. It was a good time.
Sounds awesome. I hope to join you for one day, as I'm sure you'll continue to make more of these movies. But we've made it to the third film now. When you were brought on for the first film, and pardon my pun here, but was doing a trilogy anything that you could have ever anticipated?
Oh, I love it. Oh, you're speaking my language now. No, I think when we were doing the first Antman, at that point it was just like, is the audience going to accept a superhero called Antman who shrinks and talks to ants? That was the big question, right? But now, as we go into this third movie, we always had in the back of our minds, wouldn't it be great if, right? But I think you can't be too presumptuous and think you're automatically going to get a second, much less a third movie. But I feel I love the way that Scott Lang has progressed in the MCU, in the Ant-Man movies certainly, but also in the Avengers movies, and I feel like he's earned his place to be front and center in an epic battle like the one we present in Quantumania. So I feel like for me, it's really gratifying. We all grew up with trilogies, right? The original Star Wars trilogy, what at the time was an Indiana Jones trilogy, Back to the Future, certainly. So for me, I have to admit, it was a sort of a, if an unspoken goal, a goal nonetheless. So I'm thrilled about it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm stoked that we've gotten, again, and I'm hoping for an Ant-Man 4, as I mentioned, but I know we're talking about Quantumania here.
Yes.
I would be remiss as a huge Star Wars fan if I didn't quickly take a moment to thank you for, doing your part to give us one of the best Luke Skywalker moments ever in The Mandalorian. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, that was fun to play around with Favreau and Filoni on that, man. It was a blast.
Absolutely. But along those lines, I think like Ant-Man yourself, you've gone from small to huge with cult classics like, Bring It On, Yes Man, to now working on massive IP like Star Wars and the Ant-Man trilogy. What goes into working with these larger-than-life characters in comparison to kind of your earlier work?
I think doing the Marvel movies, that it certainly has similarities to any of the movies I've ever done. The work I'd done before Marvel was largely comedic, and that carries through the Ant-Man movies. It's one of the things I loved about it because, in a world now where, the movie studios are making fewer and fewer comedies, that are released theatrically, the MCU is a place where we can do comedy still, and we can do comedies that are seen around the world, and not only do the sort of fun character comedy that Paul Rudd and I have always loved to do, but also to do big physical comedy, to do action sequences that are also sort of comedic set pieces. And for me, visual comedy is just as important as the verbal comedy. But it's all character comedy. So for me, it's sort of just a continuation, I think, of what I started doing early on in my career. And it's been really fun to work and, again, have access to these actors and all these resources.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I mean, you've said that every time you take on a new movie, you feel pressure.
Yes.
But, now you're not just taking on a Marvel movie. You're taking on the start of Phase 5. Does that increase the pressure even more, or are you like, it's old bag now, you're used to it?
Yeah, listen, no, I found myself not feeling stressed enough, so I had to increase the pressure on myself.
That's it.
And I said, well, why not kick off an entire phase of Marvel movies? One thing we wanted to do, if we were going to do a third Ant-Man movie, we really wanted to switch it up. The first two took place in San Francisco. We felt like we owed the audience a trip to the quantum realm. We teased it, obviously, in the first two movies. It came in handy in Avengers Endgame for Scott. But we wanted to spend some time down there. And it also gave us a chance to answer that question of what the hell Janet Van Dyne was doing down there for 30 years.
Yeah.
And as we started to develop the story and made the decision to introduce Kang the Conqueror, it made sense. There's a specific reason we find Kang down in the quantum realm, right? He's been exiled. And we like the idea that maybe there was a prior relationship between Janet Van Dyne. She hasn't told her family much about her time in the quantum realm, and we find out, there's a reason why. She came into contact with this powerful, bad character, and it did not end well for either of them.
No, definitely not. But Peyton, from your time, this is going to be a bit of a deep cut here, but final question, I guess.
Yes.
DJing for WXYC at the University of North Carolina. Can you tell me what goes into the greatest hits of a Marvel movie, and are there any comparisons between DJing for college students in the 80s or university students in the 80s and crafting a Marvel movie for the most hardcore of hardcore fans?
Well, okay, so the similarities between being a DJ at WXYC in the 80s to making a Marvel movie would be this. If you're a college radio DJ, which I don't know if you've ever done, but that's a finicky crowd.
Yeah.
And, part of it is entertaining that crowd that's listening to the station, but also kind of showing off how cool your musical tastes are, right? And where you're going to you've heard this, but have you heard the alternate version of this or this B-side? There's always that thing of the balancing act of really obscure, but also the mainstream stuff that everyone loves. And it's not dissimilar from doing a Marvel movie, which is, you do have to tell the stories and have a certain fidelity to the characters in the Marvel Comics world, because there's expectations and fans have their own relationships with these characters. But there is room to reinvent these characters, because it's very different a character on the page is very different than a character, in the Marvel Universe in live action. And also, it's like we got really weird with Quantumania. We decided if we're going to go in the quantum realm, we got to make it weird and different. And we're the 31st MCU movie? It's like, we don't want to bore the audience. We don't want to show them stuff they've seen before. We want to show them something different, but to do it through the eyes of these characters that they know already. So, you have to switch up the playlist a little bit. You show them something kind of new that they haven't been exposed to, but you also want to spend some time with these familiar characters.
Well, I think you definitely showed us a really cool mix with this movie. And Peyton, thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm so excited to see what the Ant Fam does next. And for Kang the freaking Conqueror, dude, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
All right.